everyone. This is Michelle Brandress on From the Basement Up. And I have a lovely guest today. Her name is Courtney Howard, and she has created a product called Love Your Scalp. Courtney created this while in law school. She passed the bar and then decided to move on and create her own business. So Courtney is a mission-driven, impact-driven person, but she's also out there helping ladies and men build their confidence with this product. And also moms with new babies, this is great for cradle cap. So welcome everybody. Welcome Courtney to From the Basement Up.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So I love your story. It's so fascinating. My producer, Emily, found you, and I just find it so fascinating. And my big area I'd like to start with is you. Tell me about you and then how you started, Love Your Scalp. Because you made a huge transition. And I want people to hear this because it's so interesting to me. So if you don't mind introducing yourself.
Yes. So hello, everyone. Thanks again for having me on From the Basement Up. My name is Courtney Howard, and I am from Birmingham, Alabama. I actually started Love Your Scalp in the middle of the pandemic during my second year of law school. So during my first year of law school, I had an extremely flaky scalp. Honestly, before then, maybe like 2 or 3 years before then, but it didn't get really bad and embarrassing until law school because I had to be in front of people and all that stuff. And have my confidence on a high level so that I could excel through law school. But my scalp used to be super duper flaky, it was really bad. And so I went to a dermatologist. They prescribed me shampoo and an ointment. And in law school, I wore my hair like this. And if not, it was in a fro or in braids. So when I knew I had to wash it all the time, I got me some braids and was washing it and putting the ointment there. Well, when I took the braids down and when I got my hair done and treated, she showed me where all of this was broken off. It was like little pieces down to my scalp. It was really bad. And so from there, I threw the products away and got in the kitchen and started making my own formula to try to cure my flaky scalp. And from there, Love Your Scalp was born. But it wasn't born with the thought of it being a business. It didn't turn into a business until I was at the late Congressman John Lewis's funeral. And I saw someone digging in their scalp, reminding me of how I used to dig in my scalp. And after the ceremony was over, I told her hey, I have some stuff that might help you. I used it on myself and I would love for you to use it. It should work. She contacted me about 2 months later and was like, hey, I need some more of that stuff. It's the only thing that works. And I was like, oh, I don't really have any more. I just made that batch for me and my family. And she's like, no, you need to sell this. I'm in law school. I'm a lawyer. I just can't. Well, I'm trying to be a lawyer. I don't really have that type of time. She drove from Georgia to Birmingham, Alabama, dropped off a check to my job. And she said, make the ingredients with this, make me some, and sell the rest. And I made 12 cans. They were small little cans. I made 12 cans of it. I gave her 2 and went on Facebook and told Facebook what happened. And so many people were like, oh my God, I have a flaky scalp. Oh my God, I have psoriasis and dermatitis too. Does this really work? And I'm like, I mean, it worked for me. It worked for her. So from there, I had to start a business during my second year of law school in the middle of the pandemic. But it's straight into this. So I'm happy about it.
That's so exciting. So how was that managing the second year of law school and then starting a business?
Oh, yeah. So honestly, it wasn't that bad because of COVID. We had to come home. So all of our classes were online. There was no type of extracurricular activities going on because we weren't in person. We were literally just going to class, taking our exams. So it wasn't that bad because I was literally at home all the time. We were on lockdown, couldn't go anywhere.
Wow.
So it really wasn't that bad.
It was
Now, it did get bad when I graduated and had to study for the bar. I actually closed the business down for 3 months. Lost a lot of momentum as far as like social media, newsletters, a lot of stuff because they thought I was just a business starting and then like stopping. But in all honesty, I wanted to pass the bar on the first try. So I was like, I'm shutting down all distractions. And so I had to shut it down for a while and then I came back.
Good for you. That's amazing. So how long have you been in business?
I started September 2020. That's when the business actually started.
Congratulations. This is
Thank
exciting.
you.
So like you're like a newbie, like a
Yeah.
brand new baby business. This
Yeah.
is so exciting. Now, my producer found you. It's called Future Founders, and then you were talking about doing pitch competitions.
Yes.
Can you tell the listeners about this?
Yes. First of all, I love Future Founders. They provided so much direction. It's kind of like a mini MBA entrepreneurship program. And not only do we get a chance to attend it for free, they like select us from a group, we apply, and then you have your peer groups, you have advisors, you have mentors, you also have resources. First of all, resources I didn't even know exist, especially exist for free, and you have guidance. So they don't necessarily like play a role in like how I determine what formula I'm going to use or how I decide what color jars or anything I want to use. They more so help guide you on the business side. Like going to law school, I had a little bit of business background, but not enough to run my own business,
Okay.
build and run my own business. So they give you a lot of guidance on the building route. And um, I've never experienced anything like Future Founders. It's honestly been better than like going to college, and I love college. I had a great experience, but it's more hands-on, and the resources are literally like, at your fingertips with if you know what you need for the next steps of your business.
I wish I had known about this or there was something like that 15 years ago. It would have been
Okay.
so great. So
Mhm.
is it online or are there conferences that you get to go to?
So it's both. Most of our programming is online. So on Mondays we meet, and we have a different either it's basically different on Monday. So you'll either have a speaker talking about a subject that we've all expressed highly that we want to know about, or you'll have a guidance, kind of like a guidance session on them telling you how to do things like hire, how to find contractors. Do you need to build it or can you find it and contract it? Then we have peer groups. So on some Mondays, we meet with our peer groups and tell them what our challenges are in our business this week. Maybe one of us have overcome the challenge and we can tell each other how we did that. And then we have in-person events, which I'm super excited about the one that's coming up. It's called FounderCon and it's the Future Founders Conference. And it'll be in Chicago. So we'll all get to meet each other in person. They also sometimes go to different festivals. They have a fellowship. Some of those are in person too. So it's kind of like a hybrid. I would call it a hybrid program.
Thank you for sharing that. That's a huge nugget of information, like a really golden nugget for people who are starting off. So that was wonderful. Thank you.
No
And
problem.
now we have to get back to Love Your Scalp.
Yeah.
So I want to hear so you started in your kitchen and you created this formula. How many times did you have to go through this
Mhm.
to make this special recipe?
Yeah, so it took me about 4 times before I got the one.
Okay.
And the way that I knew it was the one I was not really trying to get on myself, it was sending it to my aunt, who at the time she lived in New York. She's from the South. And so like of course the weather up there, like, it gets cold, so her scalp gets dry and it gets super flaky, like flakier than mine. And mine was like flaky, like you could see it all up here. That's how hers was. It basically looks like something is eating away at your scalp in the front. So I would send the formulas to her, and if nothing worked right away, I'm like, okay, that's not the one. And then like I also had like what do you call it? I would call them like not so potent formulas. I
Mhm.
help people let people use who wear braids all the time, but I knew those weren't my target people. I needed to find
Okay.
someone who really had this issue to make it work. So the fourth time, She was like, girl, I went and got my hair done, and my beautician was like, your scalp is not dry like it usually be. It's not flaky and all of that. And she was like, this is really working. And I'm
Right.
like, okay, give it to someone else so they can try it. And once it started working for them, I was like, okay, this is the one. So it took me about 4 times. And even with being in business, sometimes my formula has been off because I've tried to use a different quality of ingredient from a different supplier, and
Okay.
it's like, okay, nope, can't use that, got to stick with this specific plant-based oil. Like, so yeah, it's still ongoing, but it took me 4 times to find the exact formula of the Love Your Scalp formula that fixes your flaky scalp.
So good for you. And I did notice that you do not use coconut. You say that on your website. And why is that?
So actually, and I didn't know this until I went to another dermatologist. Coconut is something that can cause an adverse reaction to your skin if you have psoriasis, dermatitis, or eczema. Sometimes it can like it produces too many of something. I don't remember what the little word is, the
Okay.
scientific word for it, but it produces too many of that, and then it causes your scalp to basically plaque up or dry up, developing too many of another type of cell. And that's what's actually causing you to flake up or causing your skin to dry up. So coconut oil can actually be drying to people who have a sensitive scalp, psoriasis, dermatitis, even cradle cap for
Oh,
baby.
I was going to tell you that. So
Yep.
Cradle Cap, my son, he would cringe if he knew I was talking about. He had like two horns. It was the weirdest thing. He had like these two patches, one on each side, that was so big. And I the only thing that I was able to do finally was warm a washcloth with olive oil and just almost like steam his head. And if I had found this, I would have used it for his cradle cap. I think you've got a winner there. It
Yep.
was so hard to get rid of. I couldn't believe it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
And the first baby we used it on for credit cap, we used it maybe 2 or 3 days and it was gone. But I didn't know that baby. I knew babies had cradle cap, but I didn't know coconut oil could affect them the same way. And it's in like all products.
yes, it is. And that was something that when I saw that, I'm like, I always thought coconut oil was good. And it happened to be like an older Italian grandmother that was like, no, no, no. Olive oil, warm washcloth, just let it rest on there and steam. And that over time worked. But you have a magic formula there for the babies. So it's perfect because it was a struggle and I felt bad. And it's not comfortable for them either.
Mm.
Oh, yes, absolutely. So I was curious, like now that you have this formula that you're creating and you're making, how many like you have a website now, and where do you see your next steps?
Wow. So it's crazy you asked me that because every time I like say something, God be like, okay, noted. Like it either happens quicker than I expected, or it takes me into a different direction. If you would have asked me the beginning of this year, like, what do you see Love Your Scalp? I definitely wouldn't have seen it going this far, this quick, because I was working as a full-time attorney. But now that I'm able to focus on the business, I'm like, where do I see Love Your Scalp? I guess really just next year. I know we're going through a rebrand right now. I definitely want to do more of getting the word out to the masses that like, hey, Love Your Scalp exists. This is a natural care formula as an alternative to medication that you can use. Um, and basically finding more in-person events to be able to activate this in person. So like you can see me doing it. You can see someone with a flaky scalp getting their scalp clean. The only thing is having a flaky scalp is embarrassing. So someone allowing me to do that in person might be different than them coming into a business and it's like a Love Your Scalp spa. Now that's really the end goal.
Sure.
A Love Your Scalp spa. But as far as like where the business will be in the next year or two, still building. I'm still building. Yep.
I could see, I definitely could see some hairdressers just keeping it on their shelves for their clients and maybe
Mhm.
like doing little videos of how they use it. It's such an important product to have. And I mean, just don't want people, because I've had some issues, but I have not had that, where when a person's eye goes that direction.
Mhm.
So mine is more like what a teenager would get on their face. So those are my issues.
Yeah.
So, but I understand completely.
I'm coming to wipe your shoulder, like, hey, you got your shoulder, like, oh yeah, those are my flicks.
Oh, I love that you're looking out for everybody. When you quit your job as a lawyer, how like what pushed you in that direction? And I mean, that must have been scary. You invested so much time and money getting yourself through law school, passing the bar, becoming a lawyer, and then you're kind of reinventing yourself.
Hmm.
No, you can always take education with you. Education is something that is so important. You will always use it and you can always go back to it. But
Yep.
but what was that like?
Well, initially it was scary. But like I'm a strong believer in like God and purpose, and living a purpose-filled life. And with the work I was doing, while I was really good at it, like I even got like outstanding reviews, I didn't enjoy the work. I didn't feel fulfilled. I was not directly helping people or like causing any type of impact. And I'm mission driven, impact driven. Like if I can't see results and how what I'm doing is helping people, I don't really feel purpose filled in that. So that was the first thing that made me realize, okay, what else, what is going to be next? And at the time, my supervisor, who was also my internship supervisor, he was like, helping me throughout, trying to think about, okay, Courtney, like, you're really good at this, you should do it. And I'm like, well, I'm also good at this and more people need me to do this. Like I can be a lawyer anytime.
Yeah.
I just have to keep my license keep my license updated, up to date. But Love Your Scalp is making impacts now. And I knew when it came down to me doing one pitch competition and there kind of being a little bit of pushback on like, hey, we're not sure if you're allowed to do that. And I'm like, well, it doesn't really interfere with my job as a lawyer. And I don't mention that I work with you guys. So I don't really see how it can like interfere or impact or confuse anybody. But I just decided to keep down confusion and step away and do Love Your Scalp. And sometimes I am a lawyer. Like people do call me for like, one-off projects or contract projects, but I like that because it allows me the flexibility to be fully Love Your Scalp instead of hiding like, oh, by the way, I have this scalp care business. Like, no,
No,
out there, help the
it's
people.
absolutely get it out there. Everybody, to build another person's confidence, that is a special thing. And you have a product that does that. And you're building people up. And that's a
Yeah.
great thing. As far as successes, could you share a couple of your wins that have taken place over the last 2 years? You've had a few of them for sure, but I would love to hear a couple of wins.
Yes. So the two that I'm most proud of are winning two pitch competitions. When I first started Love Your Scalp in that first year, I thought like, okay, I could just apply to a pitch competition, not really a lot of it revenue coming in, not really a lot of data to tell them what I've done and how it can grow. And I was just like not getting even to the next round to pitch. And so now that it's like, wow, that's another thing future founders taught me how to do: build a pitch deck, pitch it in a way that I could tell the story and people can be like, oh, wow, yes, I can see the growth from where she started to where she is now. So winning those have been very, very proud moments for me. Also taking the leap to transition from being a full-time lawyer to being a full-time scalp care enthusiast, scalp care lover, scalp care CEO. um, those are three main things that have been like big wins for me. Also, having customers outside of the USA, like huge wins. First of all, I'm like, how do I even mail something to Australia? And I used to live in Australia, and my family sent me mail, but I never sent them mail, so I didn't know how customs and all that stuff worked. So that was another big win. And also just being in business after two, but yeah, we just celebrated our 2nd year anniversary on September 9th. So still being in business and still flowing and growing. So
Well,
yeah,
congratulations. That,
thank you
that
so
is
much.
exciting. And now that you've had these wins, and you do have a website,
Yeah,
and it's loveyourscalp.com. Um,
always loveYourScalp.com.
sorry, always loveyourscalp.com.
Yep.
And now that you have a website, how is that building the website?
Woo, okay, that website in a long kind of like headache. Because I've done all of that myself. Like at this point, I'm a web developer.
Good for you. You're wearing all these hats. But see, that's the way to do it because you know how your product's made, you know the back end, you're doing the marketing, you're doing everything. You know how everything goes. So at some point, you're going to be able to roll these things off for other people and
Yes.
going to continue growing, but you're going to know the background.
Mhm.
So when did you launch your website?
So the first website was launched maybe, I think that was probably like October 2020. And I recently oh wow, it's crazy how timing works.
Yeah.
I recently transitioned from the first website to the new website October of this year. I had been working on it for like 2 months. If anybody tells you that like transitioning from one platform to another is easy peasy, it's not.
It, it is one of the most frightening things. You pull your hair out. It is so stressful. It's really difficult because there's a lot of little things that go into it. And they do try to say, no, it's really easy. You're right. It's not. It's not.
Nothing plug and play about it.
Yes.
But it worked out. But yeah, so we're on the second website now. And what's also interesting is when I started the business, I am, yes, I'm a risk taker, but if I can make it a calculated risk, I will. And so I started the first website with $0. I found a website that would allow me to host my store for free. I connected a shipping integration to it, and that's really all I had. And the way I collected emails was by getting orders. But it didn't have all the fancy dancy to it. But I wanted to make sure the business would be successful and could make money, and it was a needed product in the market before I spent hundreds of dollars into stuff, paying for a monthly subscription and all that stuff like I do now. So it was a learning curve, yes, but I saved a lot of money from doing it that way. Starting off with the free hosting website and transitioning to a paid one.
How often do your customers come back for a new jar of product?
So how often they come back, I don't know, but I do know I have like 3-peat customers at this point. So I have people who've come back at least 3 times. I don't know like whether they're coming back every other month or every other like 2 or 3 months. So the old website didn't allow me to track that, but my new one does, and I'm so happy about it. Because it allows me to build a customer relationship and seeing like, okay, I see that now you're buying every 3 months, so maybe on the third time I can, reward you with a discount, or maybe on I can expect you to be a part of the third batch. So when I give out sample products, I can make sure you get one because you are a repeat customer. So that's another thing that it taught me about this business with Love Your Scalp. Even psoriasis and dermatitis, it's not something that you can cure, but it is something that you can treat. And so people have their seasonal times, like the wintertime sales are through the roof. Like
Okay.
it's crazy how fast it moves on in the wintertime. But okay, you didn't ask me that question. I'll get back.
No, no, no. But honestly, it's good for people to know. And
Yeah.
so, and it's interesting too. I'm a seasonal business. So I have, when kids are going back to school, our back to school season is crazy. So it sounds like you might have some seasonality too. It's hard to ramp up for it as far as like shelf life of your product. I mean, I know that you make and you send.
Mm-hmm.
What do you see the shelf life being? Is it okay to kind of be at a hairstylist shelf for 6 months?
Yes. Oh, yes, 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 yes.
Okay.
Actually, one of my best friends, she was my college roommate. She has one of the first jars of Love Your Scalp. and still uses the that first jar. And it still looks good. It's still yellow. It doesn't have any browning, so it's not molding or anything.
Oh,
So it has a really good shelf life. At this point, that first formula was made in 2019. So at this point, we're going on 3 years. But I don't, hopefully people use it within the 3 years that they buy it. But I haven't gotten to the point to where it's molding. So I'll know, like, okay, after 3 years, I need to shut this down. Not shut it down, but you need to close this jar and get a new one. So I know it's at least 3 years, but I'm not sure like how
well,
long.
and that's exciting. Our product, some of our products, like the iron-on labels, you
Mhm.
really do need to use them within a year because of the chemical nature. Like, just it doesn't adhere as well if you don't use it within a year. So there are some things that just are fine. They'll be
Yeah.
fine forever. But I think it's great that you probably are going to have customers that are coming back like a lot, very often, repeat customers. It'll be really interesting for you to see that grow over time and through your email marketing. And
Mhm.
I bet you can end up doing a subscription really soon too
I
for
would love that.
yeah, that's so neat. I'm so happy for you. I mean, it's so cool when you create something and you're able to help people out and it makes people happy. And I tell people, like, when I tell people about name stickers, they're like, what? I'm like, yeah, well, honestly, moms love them. So
Mhm.
it's something so simple, but yours is even cooler because you're building someone's confidence. And I love that. That's a special thing to be able to do.
Thank you.
Yes. And I wanted to ask, as far as like being your own boss, I know that it can be a little lonely at times, but how have you dealt with that? Just are you are you navigating those waters pretty well, or is it just still so fun and so new? You're doing fine.
I'm in the middle. Sometimes it's fun, sometimes it isn't. So I think the not so fun part might be out of the way for a second. The not so fun part was me putting my head down and building this new website. That was not fun at all. Like I would get frustrated about it, or I would do all this work and forget to click save, and that's
Oh,
over. But as my own boss, I'm like, hey, you got to do this. You have a launch date. You're trying to have it by October 1. So you need to get on it and get it out. And however long it takes you, it's like, yeah, you can be up to 2 a.m. This is your own business. Nobody's gonna care about it the way you do. So get it done. so so that was like me, that's me being my own boss, but also in me being my own boss, I have to give myself grace and remember that, Courtney, yeah, you might have a deadline for the website to be done October 1st, but you also need to remember that you don't have to do everything at one time. Like that website thing, I was trying to do websites and get out new labels and do the vending for a event that I had in DC. Like do it all at once. And it's like, hey, delegate something and also give yourself time in between to prepare for other things. So now I thank God for Calendly because I'm able to like block off time. Okay, I need to spend this time preparing for this. This week needs to go directly to the website, only to the website. And then days I have open for other stuff, let people book that instead of me just being like, yeah, I'm available. I'm available. No, no, no.
no, that's smart. That's very smart. So you can stay focused and get certain things done. As far as growth for your customer base or people coming in and finding you,
Mhm.
what have you found? Because I can obviously you're growing and the percentage of growth quarter over quarter. What have you found works really well for your product?
Honestly, word of mouth. Especially if we see someone with locks, or if our clients, or not clients, if our customers do like tell somebody else about it, which is why now with the new website I can have a rewards program, because if you tell a friend you get five, they get five. Also working with stylists, when I tell them about the product, not only do they use it and try it on their customers, they buy more. I had one stylist, I gave her a jar to try on her flaky scalp customers. Not only has she purchases six jars per month from me. For most people, a jar will last you about 3 to 4 months. She's using 6 in 1 month on her clients, and it's making her clients come back because they want that Love Your Scalp stuff that keeps down their flakes. So instead of them coming every 2 or 3 weeks, now they're coming every 1 or 2 weeks. Seeing that success and how it's growing the business has been great. Social media, not so much. The algorithm is all over the place. I don't want to pay money to keep up with it. So so I've been using my social media platforms as more of a like how to, like I'm showing you ways to use the product instead of trying to raise awareness about the product.
That is smart. When I started a long time ago, it was different, and you could really make an impact on Facebook without spending any money. And now it's so expensive. So I think word of mouth, getting it out there, working with the hairdressers is so smart.
Yeah.
Really, really smart. I always you gave us a couple of really great quotes. You're mission driven, you're impact driven. I would love to know some of the words that you live by, and a quote that you go to, like your go-to quote or words that you live by.
Yes. Okay. So as far as like words I live by, I wish I can show you my restroom right now. I was trying to see if I could find a picture of it, but not seeing it. But there's a mat in my bed, in my restroom, that I see every day. And it has the scripture Jeremiah 29:11, just like a small part of it that says, "For I know the plans I have for you." And I'm like, at the end of the day, I might have all these plans and I might have this vision in my head, but God knows the end goal, and He knows like really what He wants is the end goal. And He's gonna carry me through because it's His plan. And so I have to remind myself that I have nothing to worry about because He supplied everything I need, and this is His plan, so He's gonna make it work out. Um, as far as a quote, I have this quote on literally it's like on my screensaver on both my phone and my and my computer. But the quote reads, "You can change the world being exactly where you are, right where you are, with what you already have, based on what it is that you already enjoy." And that quote was by Ashley Green, which is also my college roommate. And she gave that quote at the end of one of her speaking sessions that she was giving on behalf of the company that sent her back to our school to speak with the business students. So I was like, girl, I'm going to type that and put that as my screensaver. And that's something I live by. And those things do keep me grounded, knowing I can be purposeful wherever I am with whatever I have. So whatever I am, this is me. Whatever I have at this moment, it's Love Your Scalp, and that's what I have. So
You are such a positive force. I see this is a niche. This is huge. And word of mouth is going to really take it somewhere. And I do see in a short time that I bet you're going to be in Targets of the world. I
thank you.
do think that. I really do. It's a niche product, and you care about it, and you're always working to make it better and making sure that the materials that you put into the product are the best quality.
Oh
And
yeah.
I love that. I love that. And you're using your product too. So you're going to make sure it's perfect.
Oh yes.
So, but Courtney Howard, thank you so much. And just actually, again, the URL for the website is alwaysloveyourscalp.com. And Courtney Howard was with us today for Love Your Scalp. And I love seeing that this business is taking off. So congratulations.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Michelle.
Thank you to our listeners for joining us for today's episode. And thank you to my amazing producer, Emily Flanagan. She deals with all my shenanigans. Julia Augustino, thank you for the amazing composition that you have made for the podcast. And listeners, feel free to check us out on our social media channels. Don't forget to give us a 5-star review. And you can also visit us on fromthebasementup.com. Thank you so much.